Welcome to Fetts Legacy, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2, the huge reveal at the end of the Mythosaur, and we'll also be talking about the future of Mandalore and who could end up ruling it in the end. But guys, before we get into that, I just want to say a quick thank you for all the continued support. We are super close to 500 subscribers, so if you guys could hit that subscribe button and help me reach 500 subs, it would really mean a lot to me, and I do appreciate any support you guys can give. But guys, let's get straight into the video. So the Mythosaur is alive, as Din Djarin did go to the living waters in the mines of Mandalore to bathe and basically rebaptize himself and be forgiven for his sins of removing his helmet. And so this was the only thing he could do to get back in the good graces of the Children of the Watch, obviously the faction or cult that he was raised by, that he grew up with. So he went down there and he ended up getting pulled down by something to the bottom, and it went a lot deeper than everyone thought it would. And at the end, when Bo Katan does go in to save him, we see as she's going up a giant Mythosaur. Now, this was absolutely incredible to see. Overall, I thought the episode was great, but when I saw the Mythosaur, my heart dropped for a second. I got really excited. I did not think we were going to have such a crazy reveal like that so early in the season. Now, I did actually predict that we would see a Mythosaur at some point in Mandalorian Season 3 or 4. When in the Book of Boba Fett, the armorer is talking to Din Djarin and actually mentions the Mythosaur, saying that the next ruler of Mandalore will rise from the ground riding the Mythosaur and will rule over Mandalore and lead their people. And so I immediately thought they wouldn't be bringing this up or talking about this if there isn't some plan for the Mythosaur to return, and most likely for Din Djarin to tame it and ride the Mythosaur. Now, there are actually a few different ways of looking at this. And so the first way is that the Mythosaur might have chosen Din Djarin to be the next ruler of Mandalore, as he sees him having the values and the potential to be the next ruler of Mandalore and lead their people to a new dawn. And I definitely think this could be the case, as he stepped into the water and the Mythosaur brought him all the way to the bottom but didn't kill him and just left him there. Now, the other way of looking at this is that the Mythosaur actually chose Bo Katan and was testing her to see if she was capable of being the ruler of Mandalore, if she had that fight and that passion to be the ruler of Mandalore. And so the reason the Mythosaur brought Din Djarin all the way to the bottom was to see if Bo Katan would jump in right away to save him, or if she would just leave him and could not be the ruler of Mandalore if she would leave a fellow Mandalorian in danger like that. So I definitely think it's plausible that the Mythosaur has actually chosen Bo Katan and wants to test her to see if she's ready and worthy to rule Mandalore, as we do know she laid claim to it before, but she was unworthy and not ready and ended up losing everything in the process, including Mandalore itself. So now the Mythosaur could be putting her to the test to see if she's actually ready this time to rule Mandalore and bring it into a new age. Now, that definitely wouldn't be her only test. It wouldn't just be go save this one guy that was dragged down to the bottom of the body of water. And she would definitely have more tests, but I definitely think it could be possible that maybe the Mythosaur has seen potential in her, considering her family had ruled over Mandalore for so long, and she is of royalty. He could see her as the next heir, obviously. And another thing that kind of lends itself to this theory and makes it a little bit more plausible is we saw her fighting with the Darksaber in this episode against that weird cyborg Grievous looking thing that had a giant mech, and we saw her fighting against it in 2 occasions, and she looked very fluid with it. She knew what she was doing, and it lended itself well to her, and it wasn't heavy like it is for Din Djarin, who clearly is not mentally prepared to wield it. And I actually thought he might be ready to wield the Darksaber properly after he was reunited with Grogu. I thought that's what was holding him back, but now he's reunited with Grogu and he's still having a hard time with the Darksaber. So it might be possible that Din Djarin is just not ready to lead Mandalore, to rule Mandalore. He still has a lot of things to work on and a lot of things to improve on, and maybe he just doesn't really even want to be the leader. And obviously we know those are usually the best leaders, and I actually do think that they have been gearing him up to become the ruler of Mandalore, or at least temporarily until Grogu can become the next ruler of Mandalore as the next Mandalorian Jedi. But I also think there is potential for Bo Katan to be chosen as the next ruler of Mandalore, as she has been after it for a long time and clearly wields the Darksaber like she is. Now, the other potential outcome of this is, as I just mentioned, Grogu, on the other hand, is half Jedi, half Mandalorian at this point. He's trained with Luke for 2 years. It was confirmed by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni that he was with Luke for 2 years. He'd obviously been trained by the Jedi for a long time. Clearly now, Grogu has become a Mandalorian foundling. And so with his time with the Jedi, he's definitely learned beast control, which is something used widely by the Jedi to help tame and control beasts and give them peace and reduce their stress and anger. We've seen it used by Ahsoka, Anakin, plenty of Jedi in the past. I don't want to go on forever, but we've even seen Grogu already use this actually in the Book of Boba Fett on the Rancor. And I thought this maybe could have been a little bit of foreshadowing of what Grogu will do with the Mythosaur. I definitely think it's highly possible that Grogu ends up taming the Mythosaur to become the next ruler of Mandalore. Now, obviously, the trouble with this is he's still a child and definitely is not capable of ruling an entire race of people. And so it definitely wouldn't be him right away, but what are the chances that he ends up taming the Mythosaur for Din to gain control and rule Mandalore until Grogu could take over? It is a bit far-fetched, and I do think they probably won't go that route just yet because Grogu is still so young. Even though he is like 50-something years old at this point, he still is unable to even form sentences or really do much besides kind of help Din Djarin along his journey. So I don't think he would be gearing up just yet to be the ruler of Mandalore. Now, where do I think this will actually go just based on these few theories and some of my thoughts? I do think that Din Djarin will end up the ruler of Mandalore. I feel like they've been building him up for 3 seasons, even in some of the Book of Boba Fett, to become this ruler of Mandalore. And I think it would fit well to have him and maybe even Bo Katan as co-rulers. And it became actually quite clear to me in this episode specifically that Din Djarin probably could not rule Mandalore without someone like Bo Katan by his side, who knows the traditions, who knows the way, and who actually even knows the planet. So I actually think there is a big possibility here that Din Djarin could unite with Bo Katan in some way. I know many people have mentioned some tension between them. Obviously, Bo Katan jumped straight in after Din Djarin after he was pulled down. And so maybe there's a bit of attraction there. Maybe they end up becoming co-rulers and ruling Mandalore together, which would be really cool. And I actually think it would be best for both of them to rule Mandalore, as Din Djarin has a lot to learn about the planet and the people and the new traditions that are not just force-fed to him by the Children of the Watch. And I think Bo Katan could actually learn a few things from Din Djarin, mostly about humility and how to treat people and how to make the people under her or the people working with her, the rest of the Mandalorians, actually treat her with respect and not fear, just because we all know Bo Katan is quite rude and mean, and I know that's her personality, but she could learn a thing or two about how to treat others, and maybe that would have her better respected as the ruler of Mandalore. Now, it would definitely be cool to see both of them ruling Mandalore together. The only thing that would be tricky would be who gets the Darksaber and stuff like that, who makes the big decisions. If they're doing it together, that's kind of just the only thing that would come up to hinder it. I do think in the end, it will probably just end up being Din Djarin who tames the Mythosaur, rides it, leads the people of Mandalore to freedom, and, we'll definitely see what goes on from there. My thoughts in the Book of Boba Fett were that I was hoping Boba Fett would become the ruler of Mandalore, just like he was in the old comics and books in Legends. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, and I didn't think it was because they had just given him the gaffy stick, so it wouldn't make sense to give him the Darksaber, and then they also just got him his own Rancor, so now if he just got the Mythosaur, what happens to the Rancor, right? So it definitely won't be Boba Fett, but I'm definitely intrigued to see where Boba Fett fits in the story. Maybe he will help Din Djarin with the Mythosaur or with ruling Mandalore in some aspect. We do know that they are good friends. And actually, just recently, the Hong Kong Star Wars account accidentally revealed that Boba Fett will officially be in Mandalorian Season 3, which we all could have guessed. Obviously, Mando had his own episodes in the Book of Boba Fett, and Boba Fett had an episode in Mandalorian Season 2. They're intertwined. They're going to be showing up in each other's shows. We could have guessed Boba Fett would show up, but it has been accidentally confirmed by them and they ended up deleting it after. But so we will be definitely seeing Boba Fett. I hope we get just at least one episode to go and check in on Boba Fett on Tatooine or whatever else he's doing, because in the Book of Boba Fett, Mando had a whole episode to himself. So I think it's only fair that Boba Fett gets a whole episode to himself as well in what he's doing. So I definitely don't think Boba Fett will become the ruler of Mandalore, mostly because it looks like Disney is fully setting him up to be the ruler of Tatooine and a crime lord and into all of that stuff, not really into the Mandalorian side. He obviously is a Mandalorian, but he seems to be further into the crime syndicate era of Star Wars. And so because of this, it does look like Din Djarin will end up being the ruler of Mandalore, which is pretty cool, and I think that's what they've been building to for a while now. So I'm definitely happy with that. It will be really cool to see what happens in the next few episodes. Please let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below about Bo Katan and Din Djarin ruling Mandalore together. Do you think he will tame the Mythosaur? Definitely let me know down in the comment section below. I'm very excited to see what happens, and I definitely look forward to reading what you guys think about this whole situation and what you guys think will happen in the future of Mandalorian Season 3. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching the video. Hit that like button and subscribe. Let's get to 500 subs, and I'll see you guys next time.